Hello, City Club family and Facebook friends. This is Mary Beth City Club Fitness Director and Registered Dietitian. I thank you for staying connected at this time through social media, our Facebook pages, our website, and through emails. We encourage you to stay active, and we hope you're enjoying the virtual classes that we've been providing. In addition to that, get outside with your friends, not your friends, get outside with your family, your pets, and make the most of this socially isolated times. So today what I want to bring to the forefront, we all know the importance of washing our hands, of social distancing, of being at home, but there's not a whole lot about our immune system. And what I want to talk about today is the lifestyle choices that we make can positively impact our immune system. So things as sleeping well, stress management, exercising moderately. But today I really want to focus on the nutrition component. I'm going to preface it by saying our immune system begins in the gastrointestinal system. The large majority of our immune cells are in the GI tract, and that's why it's so important to have a healthy gut biome. And so I want to talk about 4 practicing principles that we can choose, or at least start to think about moving towards, that can enhance the immune system from the gut perspective. Before I go there, our typical Western diet, American diet, is highly processed. There's lots of added sugar. There is typically trans fats. It's a processed food with pesticides, hormones, etc. And that has led to an epidemic of obesity, of type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes. In fact, half of us are walking around right now with compromised blood sugar issues. And so we have to rethink this. And if you have been thinking about losing weight, lowering your A1C, lowering your cholesterol, reducing some of your cardiovascular risk factors, there has never been a better time than now to do that. Because, ladies and gentlemen, these are the underlying health conditions that make it difficult to fight off viruses in general, but especially COVID-19 right now. So there are 4 things that we can choose to do. Number 1 is to remove some of those items or eliminate those items that are pro-inflammatory. I've been reading this book right here, The Plant Paradox by Dr. Stephen Gundry, and it's all about really enhancing what he calls the gut buddies to do their job. So the pro-inflammatory typical American diet is high in sugar, high in those trans fatty acids. So let's try to really think about, where is sugar coming from in our diet? Lots of it is coming from our beverages. So sodas, sweetened teas, might be that extra tall latte loaded with syrups and so forth. Also in our food sources, for example, cakes and cookies and candies, cereals, sometimes it's hidden sugars in protein bars or protein drinks. So really become aware of where these sugars lie. Secondly, in addition to the sugar or our pesticides, our hormones, things of that nature, so choosing fresh foods whenever possible, hormone-free protein sources, and so forth. And then lastly, gluten, which is found in our whole wheat products or refined wheat products. So our breads, whether they're white breads or wheat breads, a lot of our cereals and so forth, the scientific research shows that gluten can compromise our gut buddies. It makes the junctions between the cells of the GI tract less tight, and that can lead to what we call leaky gut syndrome, which manifests into inflammation. Inflammation then can turn out as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and in some people autoimmune, depending on your genetics. So lowering the sugar, choosing to avoid those processed foods, watch your pesticides, watch your hormones, and watch the gluten. So what can we eat? Plenty of wonderful things. So as you can see here, choosing more of the foods that are truly anti-inflammatory in nature. First and foremost, your vegetables. Let's start with the cruciferous ones, your broccoli, your cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, really packed with phytonutrients that enhance the gut, enhance the immune system. These right here are roasted. Well, I'll talk about fat in a moment. Steaming is in the past. We need to have some good fats along with these phytonutrients. So I'm coming back to that in a moment. So aside from the cruciferous ones, all of your green leafies, your spinach, your kale, your lettuce varieties, all of that is packed with good ammunition, if you will, especially during this time. And then others as well, your sweet potatoes, they are higher in carbs, but if you just kind of dice them, cube them, it can be a really good part of a lower carb, high phytonutrient diet. So fats, let's talk about that. We consider avocados a fat. We need those. And then this has been roasted in a combination of olive oil, avocado oil, and a little bit of this Kerrygold's butter, which is grass-fed cow butter. And they're very flavorful, a little bit of sea salt. So fat is not the bad guy. That's, again, back in the 80s, that's what has caused this epidemic of obesity and type 2 diabetes. We need the fats to help us from craving the carbohydrates. So add that olive oil, some nuts and some seeds, especially things like almond butter. We don't want to go overboard on the nuts, but pecan butter, a handful of nuts is going to be a good snack or something to add to salads and so forth. And then the next macronutrient is protein, of course. We all need protein, but you probably don't need as much as you might think. So this is an example of a portion about the size of the palm of your hand. This is wild-caught salmon, high in omega-3s, but it can be grass-fed beef, it can be organic chicken without a whole lot of added hormones. I'm not going to take away crawfish or shrimp. Please enjoy that. So a proper portion of protein, lots of the good vegetables that we're talking about here. In here I also have some mushrooms, asparagus. You can add okra, and roasting or stir frying or gently sauteing, you can get some of those good fats in there for you. So we talked about the carbs, the protein, the fats. And so the next thing that I wanted to talk about are limiting those foods that are pro-inflammatory. We're increasing those anti-inflammatory ones, anti-inflammatory. And then thirdly, consider some supplements. But supplements aren't to take the place of a good diet. They're there for insurance. So some of the key ones, especially right now, vitamin D3, D as in dog, can be very anti-inflammatory. Most of us are deficient. Please know your numbers next time you go to your physician, not today, not tomorrow, probably not this month, but know that vitamin D level. Until you do know that, just a good 2,000, maybe a 5,000 IU, again, talk to your physician, but it is definitely anti-inflammatory. Get some natural vitamin D outside in the sunlight, but wear your sunscreen, of course. And then the B vitamins are important. About half of us cannot methylate, cannot absorb and convert those B vitamins, mainly folic acid and B12, into the form that we need to use. So make sure it's a methylated B complex because all those B vitamins work together. Vitamin C at this time, take some extra. It's water soluble. Take a little additional dose of vitamin C to help us with this antiviral attack, if you will. And then good omega-3 fatty inflammatory. I like a good multivitamin, but let's get one that has an added plant phytonutrients. So I have added nutrients from your greens into that multivitamin. There's some really great brands out there. And then two more things. You have pre and probiotics. A prebiotic is basically fertilizer for the good bacteria that you have in your gut. You can get that from fermented foods or a supplement. And then a probiotic is adding live cultures of the good bacteria to your gut to really boost those good gut buddies. And then lastly, and relatively new in my experience, is something called sulforaphane, which is a high concentration of those cruciferous vegetables in a pill format. And last but not leastly, and not my favorite one to talk about, is consider eating less and consider eating less often. I'll talk about this more next time, but intermittent fasting has shown some really powerful results on the inflammatory process, which can lower your blood sugar levels. It can lower that insulin resistance and help with prediabetes and diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and so forth. We're in a supersized society. We don't need as much food as we might be used to consuming. So just maybe try not to eat for 12 hours, meaning you stop eating at 7 p.m., you don't eat till 7 a.m., and we'll talk more about this at another time. So let me know what you're interested in learning more about. It can be cooking demos, it can be more on sleep and stress and the immune system. Whatever questions you have, we will address. And lastly, write down some goals. If there was something today that resonated with you, lowering your sugar, increasing your vegetables, getting more exercise, getting outside, write them down. Darren Hardy, entrepreneur, self-made millionaire, owner of Success Magazine, says if you can think it, you can ink it. It becomes more real and you're much more likely to achieve those goals. So be well, everyone. And animals have wisdom. So some of Louie's favorite treats are, guess what? Cruciferous vegetables. Louie, you want a treat? Come see. A little piece of broccoli for you. A little piece of cabbage. Sit. And soft paw. Good dog. And some cabbage. And a little piece of red cabbage. Get those rainbows of color. Good, Louie. Have a great day.